Hey, good morning. Made it through the night. In the sleeping bag yet. Put on my hoodie now because, I used it as a pillow last night. I thought either the sleeping bag or the mattress came with some pillows. I believe one of them said they did, but they didn't. So, buying a pillow today. But, yep, we're charging. We're uploading to YouTube, which is taking forever. And plenty of room in here, tons and tons of room. I have my camping chair in here, everything pretty easy night. Gonna go up and grab a shower, start getting ready for the day, have a fun little trip planned for this morning. We're gonna head to the Harley Davidson Museum, so looking forward to that. It's about an hour away. Gotta figure out how to pack all this stuff up too, but yeah, day one in the books, night one in the books, I guess I should say, and on to day two. So what did the showers and bathroom look like here at the campground? Oh, well, let's check it out. Got 3 different shower stalls, and got a little button that you probably have to hold down to get the water so that the water stops. And this is it. Edward Bong recreational area here in Wisconsin. It's where we're at. Not that place. Got water right out by the road. And again, I'm gonna try to get started on the day here. Oh, the joys of breaking down camp. So I have finished my shower, got dressed, put the hoodie back on because it still was a bit chilly. It was a cold night in that tent, and the warm shower certainly went a long way to warming me back up. However, I was definitely feeling the effects of not really eating well the day before. I mean, the shake was fine, don't get me wrong. It was, in fact, pretty darn delicious, but as enough to sustain someone of my size doing physical things. And, honestly, throughout the night, I was nervous. Throughout this trip, the biggest thing that was on my mind was what happens if a bear comes? I know. I'm in a camping area. It's probably pretty unlikely. However, the thought was still there. So we have taken off our rain fly here and decided to set that aside, and then grabbed this sleeping bag and decided that that was going to be a hard thing to fold right then and there as well too. And I think that ends up getting set aside as well. Yeah, folding is probably, well, I called it my kryptonite when I did my laundry later in this trip. Someone said, "Are you going to fold all that?" And I said, "Absolutely not. That is my kryptonite." So we did bring out the mattress, and this was one that I was really, really worried about, was how on earth is this foam and air mattress going to get back down into a manageable size? And there I had the valves open so that some air can come out, but it didn't seem to go much of anywhere. So frustration set in, and I had to go sit down for a few moments and try to let my brain cool out, as well as my body a little bit as well too. So then I did some climbing on top of the mattress and trying to find a way to get some of that air to come out. It was not super successful at first. But then I decided to fold it over and then just utilize my weight and size to try to force some of that air out. And then because those valves only go one direction, you can flip which direction they go in input or output. I switched them so that any amount of air that I got out stayed out. And then I start rolling it and again laying on top of it. I would love to say that I became a ton more efficient at this over the trip, but no, not really. This was pretty much the way that this kind of went throughout the entire trip, but I did figure it out at least after night one. We did get it back together, was able to get enough air out of it to get it to be small enough to be able to fit back in the tiny trunk of the Volkswagen Beetle. So I was rather grateful that I was able to get this thing strapped up here. This was probably as inefficient as I was the entire time with it, but we certainly did improve, and I'm glad that we did. But it certainly worked out, and it got back into the car. One of the things you may remember from the first video is we had to unpack a lot of this stuff as well too. So there was a good bit of garbage that we had to get rid of. You will see as we drive away, that's one of the things that I made sure that I did was disposed of all that stuff to make sure that it was gone and we didn't leave anything behind in the area that we were in. Yeah, I don't know. I did that. I believe I repacked that afterwards. I think I took it over to the picnic table that you might be able to see in the background there. The Rainfly, I believe this is where I actually did get this packed up. It's not very large and didn't have to pack down very small. So that was pretty much all there was to that. Which leaves, oh, yes, that's right. Probably the most frustrating portion of this, and that is the tent. It breaks down pretty easily. I was very happy with how quickly the legs went in, and then the whole tent was able to be kind of folded back up. The legs never quite feel super sturdy, but they withstand opening, unpacking, packing, going back and forth, and it is a very sturdy tent. It just doesn't necessarily feel that way. Now, one of the things when I got this tent out originally, it's kind of wrapped around. It has the fabric is taken all in one direction and it was wrapped up and then packed down in that box and then from the box into the bag. We unfortunately weren't really able to do that in replication. So I got the bag. Let's see how this is going to work with the bag. At which point I again tried to roll it, wrapping that material around. It doesn't get very small. I'm very frustrated by this point and had to take another break. So I took another break, got rid of the hoodie because I can tell you as that frustration set in, I was definitely getting heated in both my mind frame and I was starting to sweat a little bit as well too, even though I believe that the temperature was probably in the 40s and it definitely hit the 30s that night. There was frost on the outside of the car in the morning. So we know we definitely hit some freezing temperatures here. So then I decided to just get down on the ground and wrestle this tent. And I can tell you, it's a two-time NCAA champion. At least I'm pretty darn sure. Or maybe like a bronze medalist. I don't know. This tent seemed to kick my butt. This was a long, long time to put this golly gee whiz tent away. I'm pushing, I'm pulling, I'm trying to push it into corners. And I can tell you, you see the arms go up in victory. It felt like a victory by the time that I was done with that. So that was pretty much breaking down the site. Had to still put away a couple of things like the tarp, and then we are on the road. So like I said, the first stop was getting rid of all of the packing materials and things like that. So I did stop and make sure that that was all put away. I hope you all feel very good about that. Then the next stop, I had to make sure I knew where I was going. We were kind of in the middle of quote unquote nowhere, and reception in cell coverage wasn't the greatest. But we are now heading into the city. We are going to the Harley Davidson Museum. This stop right here, I had my first trouble code light come on the dash of the Beetle. It was a traction control issue. I shut off the car, turned it back on, light went out. We were good to go. So it was about an hour or so ride to get to the Harley Davidson Museum from where we were. And it was, you know, a pretty nice ride. I stayed behind that one truck, as you might be able to tell, for quite a good bit of time. Eventually, we end up getting into the city and a couple of turns and ample parking for the Harley Davidson Museum. I parked right by the gift shop. And what you'll see here is I was happy that I was there. I unfortunately can't play you the audio because there was some copyrighted music being played, but it's super, super cool. And let's get into the action. The earliest examples that you can find of a restored Harley Davidson, they are way closer to bicycles than you would imagine, but a super cool piece of history. 1925 V-twin, pretty sweet. Wall of the museum are these replica tanks that have literally every single different design of the Harley Davidson logo that they have had on modern motorcycles throughout their history. It is really, really cool to see all those different deviations of the ways that they could just lay out something as simple as two names, Harley Davidson. But really a neat exhibit. This leads right along that back wall. If you go all the way across this, you'll get to where they have an elevator to the third story vault where they keep all sorts of test engines and really old motorcycles and things that need to be restored or finished or just one of a kind things that exist through Harley through the years. So if you ever get to the Harley Davidson Museum, make sure you get along this back wall and then take a ride up the elevator for a cool look at some different things. Check out this race bike here. 1923 8-valve V-twin and 2 cams. Pretty freaking sweet. Hard to believe. 1923 technology that you wouldn't see in passenger cars for a real long time. Multiple valves per cylinder like that. Real cool. So one thing you might not be aware of that I certainly wasn't before I saw this example right here is some of the earlier motorcycles were often used for automotive repair. What they would do is they would pack up the back of this motorcycle with a whole bunch of parts, and they would respond to you out on the road wherever you broke down and try to do enough to get the car running again with the parts in the back of the bike. Then they would hook the bike up to the car and then tow it back to the shop to complete the repair. Absolutely incredible, really, really neat. This example here is a Dodge. Why? Because if it was a Ford, well, it would have been all used up and broken. This one actually still survived. Well, there's how you know it's a Harley museum. Check out the Evel Knievel bike just floating up in the air like it just came off the jump. Recreation, not the real one, still really, really cool. They said they even have it bent in all the same places that the actual bike got bent in during a crash jump. So pretty neat stuff here at the Harley Museum for sure. So cool how they go from these single cylinders. That's 1948 to 1966. Look how much we jumped then, 61 to 72. And then the Buell Blast all the way up in 2000 still with a single cylinder. Then we got the V series. First V, 1911. F head. V series flathead. U series flathead. The knucklehead. Panhead. Probably heard a lot about that one, 48 to 65. The shovel head. And then more modern Evolution 84 to 99, Twin Cam 99 to 2017. Quick evolution here, Twin Cam Rushmore 2014 to 2016, and then present day Milwaukee 8. There's some 60-degree twins up here, 2 of those. And then these are just strictly for racing. And Sport Twins, I got some opposing twin motors. Not really what you associate Harley with, is it? A replica here of Captain America from Easy Rider. Pretty cool. Looks pretty accurate to me. And then right on the other side, we got an actual screen used bike. 1990 T2 Fat Boy. One of the 3 bikes from Terminator 2 that Arnold was riding in some of those famous scenes. Harley Museum done in the books. A lot of cool stuff there. It is definitely on brand. Everything there is on brand. It really feels like it is Harley through and through. Some really, really awesome stuff. Happy to get to share some of that with you. Now it's off to Minneapolis. That's right. We're going to be heading out that way. $367 miles, and then we'll be at our next campsite. See you guys in a bit. On the road to Minneapolis here. And you're going to see our first stop that we take. Well, maybe you'll see, maybe you won't. these are going to blink by in just a few moments here. But I stopped at a gas station. I needed some fuel to top off. But the reason I stopped at this one particular gas station, besides being in traffic and just about having enough of that, was that they had a sign outside that said pork cutlets wrapped in bacon, $1. Now, I really hoped that when I arrived that these were cooked and I was going to be able to just get something on the go to eat. However, they're frozen. Still picked up 5 of them to cook that night. Made a couple stops here. Didn't really document them, just really trying to boogie down. We have rain coming to our next stop, so I'm hoping I'm going to make it. So rushing through a little bit. We'll catch back up really when we're landed. I knew that after that gas station stop that I was going to have to hustle to try to make it before two things happened. One, before I got a lot of rain, making things far more difficult to set up and be able to record and all of that, as well as sundown. I knew that I was going to be cutting this one on a razor's thin edge. In retrospect, I wish I left the campsite earlier. I think the amount of time that I spent at the Harley Museum, although was a bit long compared to most of the rest of my stops, was definitely worthwhile. It was totally cool to check out. I was only able to share literally a portion of the time that I spent there with you guys. Otherwise, it's, you're going to just watch me tour a Harley Museum for a whole video. So definitely wanted to bring you guys some of the travel as well as, the commentary and just the journey for this portion of the trip. Two real quick things. One, I'm still really hoping that we make it before the rain. Again, still don't know. But that's what my hope is. That's what we're going to try to do. And then secondly, out here in this part of the world, in the Midwest, there is Culver's. If you've never had Culver's, do it. Fantastic, fantastic food. Get a butter burger, get some custard, enjoy that. But I had to share that just past yet another exit that had a Culver's. Would love to stop, but again, trying to beat this rain. I did, when I made my stop though, at the last gas station, because I had to run in real quick and utilize some facilities. I did make a purchase of some Wisconsin cheese, and holy buckets, that stuff is good. I guess that's why they're known for it. Anyway, just hit you with that. I'm still trying to make it to this next destination. Despite some of the traffic, this whole portion of road was only a 70-mile-an-hour speed limit. So that did help a little bit with gas mileage. We averaged somewhere in the neighborhood of 28 to 29 miles per gallon during this stretch, which certainly was not too bad considering that it could have been a whole lot worse when we're trying to average 80 miles an hour or so, which you're going to see a little bit further on in some of this adventure here. But as we're making our way through Wisconsin, it was beautiful territory, lots of lush green scenery to see. But again, a lot of two-lane highway, kind of just going back and forth, a lot of roadways shut down. You see that portion that was right there. We were on just one side of the road where they had everything all stopped up, but we got back to it here. Goodbye, Wisconsin. Hello, Minnesota. All right, about 51 miles to go till we get to the campsite. Excited. So as we arrive to the campgrounds here, you'll see that we had some construction. We actually had to go past the campground and then make our way back due to some road closure issues. We checked in, and the lady was super, super nice at the check-in for the campground. However, she wouldn't stop talking. And I just wanted to get in and out of that office so quickly so I could get my camp set up for the night. And what you're going to see is we came in, you'll probably see some of the rain on the camera there as well too. And then we ended up heading right back out to Target to pick up some supplies. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in just a second. All right, I'm here at the Target. I got some good news, some bad news, and I don't know, maybe funny news? Not quite sure. Anyway, so I'm here because I really needed a pillow last night, so I'm going to be picking up a pillow here at Target. I made it, almost made it before the rain. It was actually just starting to rain as I walked out of the office to get my site. And despite my amount of hurrying, it started coming down pretty good. So bad news, I did not record putting the tent up. Good news, the tent is up. Most of my stuff's inside, at least the big stuff. So I will be able to be dry tonight and not have to be completely soaked. Got a little wet. It has poured actually since then a bit. So I'm really glad I got it up. Sorry I don't have it on video for you. I will say this, it went up super, super easy. I'm sure I will struggle putting it away again tomorrow, but it's all set up, good to go. You know what? I'll also be honest, setting up a tripod while it's raining, while there's a bunch of people around, this campground is tight. I can see all the people around me. I don't mind you guys laughing at me. You should. Like, I'm happy about that because that probably means you're going to watch again. But when you can hear the people laughing at you because you're setting it up wrong or, you know, all that, like, I was just hustling. So that's really where I'm at. I'm looking forward to going in, grabbing a pillow, getting back. I'm sure my site is probably where I should have parked, and I probably should have put the tent where I parked and vice versa. Oh well, it is what it is. I have a dry spot. It's on a little bit of a incline. I'll position my bed somewhere in there where it won't feel like I'm falling, and we'll go from there. But glad to have it up. All told, we are 1,201 miles so far on the trip. Puts us right about 400, a little over 400 for the day, because we were just a smidge under 800 ending out the day yesterday. I think it was like 793. Gonna need another fuel up soon. Planning the next stop. I know what my destination is for tomorrow. We're gonna go see something pretty cool, something I've always kind of wanted to see. Probably got to spend a little bit less time than I did at the Harley Museum, because I could have got on the road even 10 minutes earlier and I would have been able to set the tripod up and record and all that sort of fun stuff, because there wouldn't have been rain. But I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna wait to reveal what it is in the next video for the next day. I might have some more stuff while I'm in the tent, and if not, this will be me signing off for the night. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to get you guys some more stuff before the night's out, because I didn't do a whole lot of intense stuff yesterday. I was too busy trying to get the day 0 video out, which is out. Last I checked, 20 views. You know what? For a first time post, I'll take it. I am not mad about 20 some views on the first day and the first video. That's a video 0. There's not a ton of content on there. So everybody who watched it on that first day, thank you so much. And if you watch it since then, watching this now, who knows, watching this 6 months from now, thank you for watching as well too. Like it. Can you subscribe? I don't know. If you can, do that. Comment, all that stuff. I think it helps, like algorithms or whatever is going to make more people see it. But anyway, so running to Target, and I'll catch up with you guys either later or on the next video. A great Target run. I ended up picking up not only the pillow, but things like paper towels that I needed to really kind of help combat some of this moisture that we had going on. I made some of those pork wrap fillets. They were delicious. It was no problem on the butane stove. And that's how we ended the night, with a nice warm meal and then off into sleep. So thank you so much for watching this episode. As always, Mama always said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.